Hello, welcome back. This week so far, we have talked about the vocabulary for our energy transformation unit, and then we talked about that vocabulary again and put a bunch of examples in there with it. So, today we're actually going to take it a little bit farther and see actually with our eyes how those energy transformations happen. So, if we look at one thing, we're going to know what that energy might change into. To begin, if you remember, one of our vocab words was the law of conservation of energy. What is that law of conservation of energy? Do you remember? Well, I have it right here. It says energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just changes forms. Now that is super cool because Julius Mayer is now famous because of his idea that the total amount of energy in the universe is constant, but the form of energy is constantly changing. That's just kind of the same idea, that law of conservation of energy. When energy changes form, all of the energy in the original form is transformed into the new form. So, I mean, it doesn't disappear, it doesn't go away, it just changes into something else. Energy's ability to change is what makes it super cool. And we can just look at the form that it's in, look at what it's doing to know which form it is. So the types of forms that we talked about yesterday, the forms of energy, what were those? Y'all remember? We've got chemical energy, we've got electrical energy, we've got light energy, we've got sound energy, we've got heat energy, we've got nuclear energy, chemical energy. I think that's it. I don't know, there's a bunch. Okay, there's a bunch of them. You have them all in your notes. Okay, so those are the things that we're going to talk about today. Super quick, I'm going to go over a few that I just happen to have sitting here next to me. Y'all see my little guy right here? So there's a battery in here, and when I push this button in the middle, watch what happens. Oh, and he's not working. Ah, that little turd. All right, here we go. Ah, I got another one. This is a Christmas tree, same thing. It's got a battery inside. When I push the button, see what happens? Can you guys hear that? When I turn it on, it kind of vibrates and makes a little bit of a noise. And what do you see happening inside here? Okay, there's lights being lit up. And then if you look, see that thing in the middle right there? It's like a little, I don't know, like a little piece of plastic. Well, it starts spinning around. You see how it's moving right there? So we've got a lot of things happening right here, and let's talk about them. So if we start with a battery, what type of energy are we starting with? If you said chemical energy, you are exactly right. So we start with chemical energy here, okay? When we push the button and turn it on, what does that chemical energy turn into? If you remember, we just talked about it. It makes a noise. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. You might just have to take my word for it, but it does make a noise, okay? So what type of energy is noise? We can hear it. What is it? Sound energy, right. So if it makes a noise, we've got sound energy. It also, these little lights are lighting up. See how they light up? So what type of energy is that? If we got lights coming on. It's radiant or light energy. Good. So there's two things right there. We started with a battery and chemical energy. We changed into sound and light, and what else? What do you see with your eyes? What's moving in here? That little plastic thing is moving, right? So that is what type of energy? The energy of movement. Mechanical energy, good. So mechanical kinetic energy, we got three things happening here. We started from chemical in the battery. We moved to sound because we can hear it, to light or radiant energy because we can see the lights came on, and to mechanical kinetic energy because it started moving, right? Man, super cool. All these transformations happened in my little toy right here, okay? Got another one we can talk about. Most of you have seen one of these. Might want to do your hair in the morning or something, okay? So I have this. This is plugged into my wall right here. When I turn it on, kind of loud, right? Kind of loud. So we've got what happening just from those two things. We've got it plugged into the wall. If it's plugged into the wall, what type of energy do we start with? electrical energy. We always start with electrical energy. If it's plugged into the wall, you've got electrical energy, okay? When I turn it on, what do you hear? A bunch of noise, right? So that electrical energy turned into sound energy. Well, what else did it turn into? There's some other things happening right here. If you've ever been around a hair dryer, you know it's getting hot on my hand. So it's giving off heat. So that electrical energy is turning into what else? Thermal energy, because it's giving off heat. Okay? And also, it does something else too. Y'all might be able to see it better. Let me show you. Okay? See how that air is coming out of there? It's blowing this thing all over the place. So the air is coming out of there because of why? What could be inside here that's making that air move like that? I'd say a fan or something along those lines, right? So we've got electrical energy because it's plugged into the wall. Turns into sound energy because we can hear it. It's really loud. It gets hot, so we've got thermal energy. And if there's a fan in here moving around to push the air, what type of energy is that? If it's moving around, mechanical energy. Good. So electrical energy turned into 3 different things right here. Kind of cool, right? All right. One more I want to show you. I bet all of you have something like this in your house. If it doesn't look like this, that's okay. I bet if you walk around and turn a light switch on, you'll get the same thing, okay? So I have this lamp plugged into the wall. So what type of energy are we starting with this lamp? Electrical energy. Good. When I turn this lamp on, what happens? The light comes on. Good. So, oh gosh. Okay. So the light comes on. All right. And so when I turn it this way, I'm feeling something against my skin. This is giving off some heat. This is warming me up. This is a heat lamp, so that kind of makes sense. Okay. So I'm going to turn it back off again. So with our lamp, we start with electrical energy. We know that because it's plugged into the wall. When we turned it on, was the first thing we noticed. The light energy. What type of energy is light? Radiant, okay? And then I also felt heat coming off of this bulb when I pointed it at my cheek. So that electrical energy is transforming into radiant energy with the light and heat energy, which I could feel it with my hand. Pretty neat, right? So there's 3 different transformations that we talked about right here. Below, we're going to have some questions for you to answer. We're going to start with one, and then I want you to tell me what type of energy happens whenever this is happening. So we've got a hair straightener, much like the hair dryer. Okay, what is a hair straightener? What type of energy is going on with a hair straightener? If you don't know what that is, we plug it into a wall. There's little elements that get hot, and then we crimp our hair with it. We close it on our hair, it gets really hot, and straightens our hair up. Okay, so I want to know what type of energy transformations happen with a hair straightener, with a nuclear power plant, with a blender, a stereo or a radio. Okay, what happens there? A human running a race. So what's happening when a human runs a race? With batteries, what type of energy transformations could happen with a battery? Okay, the sun outside, what type of energy transformations are happening with the sun? A roller coaster going up a hill, what type of energy transformations are happening right there? A ceiling fan, what type of energy transformations are happening with a ceiling fan? And then the last one I have is a solar panel. So what's happening with a solar panel? So I want you to answer these questions. When you get done, go watch the video at the end. We're going to talk about them, okay? Y'all are amazing. See you in a little bit.